Hey everyone, wanted to make a video about this Roland TD30 set that I've got right beside me. I've had this kit for more than 10 years and I'm going to be donating this to the church. I just got a new TD716 set to replace this, and so the church needs this down in their youth center, and so it's going to work out to be a great kit for them. But before I send it off forever, I wanted to make this video because Roland has done just such a great job on this thing. And I like to document great designs. I'm a user interface designer myself. I have worked on a lot of projects, consulted in Silicon Valley for 10 years. And let's see, I made a video like this on the Simmons SDX, which was just great. I made a video on the user interface on Tesla's versions 7 and 8, which they just did a great job on those versions. And so whenever I see really super great design, I really want to document it. And also we will kind of make a back-end video of this about how the TD716, their latest kit, compares to this TD30. And so this is the kit right here. As it came from Roland, it had only these two 10-inch toms, and they had one 10-inch tom down there. And I have really added many more pads and cymbals, and I have reduced it here to be more compatible with what is in the church. Because when we're practicing in the church, I want to be able to practice something that has the same physicality as what we have in the church, so that you know, I just kind of get used to playing on this and where the toms are and that sort of thing. And so I'm not practicing on one setup and then actually playing drums on a completely separate setup. So here we have the TD30 module over here. We'll be talking about this in greater depth in a second. And what you see here is I have the silver cymbal here. This is the silver ride cymbals and the silver crash. And then on the hi-hat, I have this thing called metallic gray, which is really similar, but it's a little bit of a deeper gray. And the thing about these is that these have been on here for literally years, and I very rarely clean them, and so the condition that you see these in is the condition that they're in. And I use these wood tip sticks, and you know, it doesn't leave marks or anything else, as opposed to this one black cymbal that we have here, which you could see exactly where I've been playing. So yeah, so these were available for a brief time. They're not available anymore, but they were sold on a single TD30 kit for a brief time, and they were available sold separately. That's how I got them. But I prefer these silver ones. It's just, you know, you don't see the stick marks. I prefer the look of them, and it's really too bad that these were available for only such a short time, because it's so great. And we'll be talking about this in more detail in a little while. A little bit more about this setup. One of the things that I've done is I have attached this cell phone holder onto it, as you can see onto the back of this one tom, and I will put a link to in the description below where I got this. And this just suction cups right onto the back of the pad, and then this little kind of stabilizer I put right there. And what we could do, and how I use it, is by attaching this cable here from the cell phone to mix in, and then this allows me to do practice. So that's how I've done that one. For example, I can have Vince Maynard here. I can watch him from Elevation Worship playing praise and see how he did it, and then try to imitate what he did. So that, I found that to be very handy to do. So what you see here is the setup. I've got the DW pedals here. They work out really well, and we'll take a look at this from the front. I'm in my home studio tonight. So you see this here, got the kick drum down here, 12-inch. This is the back of the TD30. You see the connections. And so there's one thing, as I was looking at this in preparation for making this video, just about the great design, just how this looks. Got these curved corners, just the shape of it. You've got this kind of angle here, and the roundness of this here. This is expensive to make. My company manufactures products, and I can tell you, this is expensive. To do this type of round bend and the way that they put it together, this is very expensive. In a second, we'll take a look at the TD716 and see what that looks like. But another thing I like about it is just how beautifully laid out this is, and the visual angles, and just the symmetry of how they've laid it out, and even this touch around here, the this aluminum surround on these buttons, just everything about it is just really beautiful. Just even how they've used this area up here, which ordinarily would be blank, unused. This is where they put the logo and supernatural. And supernatural, this is an important concept. This really sets forth what this module is all about, trying to be supernatural. And in a second, we're gonna hear some samples and see what it sounds like and see if they've actually lived up to this moniker. This, in engineering and design, coming up with some inspirational phrases is important for engineers. When we were working on the Beyond project, the inspirational phrase I used was better, faster, easier. The term I set forth for the engineers was, everything we do has got to be measured against this yardstick. Every tool has got to make things better, faster, and easier. And here we have supernatural. If this is the tool that was used for the engineers, you make it supernatural, make it sound supernatural, make it work supernatural. And I think that they have really lived up to this, to this standard, to this yardstick. So, well, let's go ahead and hear some of the samples that are available in this kit just out of the box, and take a listen to this. All right, so I figured I'd go through and show you some of the sounds that came with the system. In most cases, I have not edited these. What I've done is I've added my own kits towards the very end, but we'll just go through some of them and see how they sound. One of the things, even before I want to do this, one of the things that so impressed me about this is the hi-hat, just how a hi-hat works, and just how smooth it is and responsive. And to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into trigger and adjust the hi-hat, and I can manually adjust it, so I don't have to use my foot and try to be precise about it. I'm going to leave this all the way up, and I'm going to move the hi-hat up and down with the dial here. And I just want you to hear what this sounds like, just how smooth this is. I'm just start hitting it, and then I'll start closing it slowly, and you'll hear the different sounds it makes through the transition from close and opening. Because to me, this is just part of what makes this thing supernatural. So this is fully open. Start and close it here. Starting to open it up again. We'll set this back to where it normally lives its life at 16, I think. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so that's the hi-hat. This kit is studio, so you hear what it sounds like. Got Up here, I always just have a tambourine and a wood block. It's just so this is the studio kit. Next is called LA Metal. So swinging. Let's see, burning. Let's see what else. Birch. So a lot of kits, just so many of them, have come with this system. Dubstep stuff. Let's see, stage. Let's see, loud jazz, overheads, like overhead mics and stuff. Let's see what else. They've got a really big, oh, this is kind of neat. Play music on it. Let's see. 70s rock. Melodious. Let's see what else we got here. And I'm only up to 37. So it's just so many of these things. So many. Let me see what we get into. Some of the stuff is really big. Let's see, jazz sessions for flanger. That's fun. Let's see, bebop. So many, 60. We're only up to 60 so far. It's Yankee. 80s machine. Oh, 808 and 909 are Roland's original electronic kits. I think Simmons did electronics better so long ago. So let's see. I mean, we're up to 80. Yeah, so the thing came with 80 kits. And what I use up here is, I just made a church at 100. So this is kind of the standard thing that we're doing at church. This is the tuning that we have at the church. So this is what we do. But it just came with so many. It comes with 80. They're all, or pretty much all of them, are really highly usable. Great out of the box, and just in terms of how it sounds. The responsiveness. How many instruments? Let's see if we can actually determine that. Here's all the kicks. Let's see. I think everything's just in an ascending number. So we're going to start with 1. So just kick drums alone, there's, it looks like 157. just kick drums alone, 157. You know, kick drums, kick variations, and then we starting to get into some snares. We're going to start with number 158. Cross stick. So 158 through 243 looks like for snares and the rims. Then we start getting into some cross sticks. So 244. Through 276 and maybe back into some snares too. So there we are right there, and then we get into yet more snares. A lot of snares in here, a lot of snare variations. Now some toms. Let's see, 345. Just on tom A, 345 through 381, through 380. Okay, so then we start getting into tom B, tom C, electronic. Okay. I think we started, I can't quite remember where we started now actually, but a lot of toms. We're now up to almost 600 on the actual number. So we start getting the hi-hat. Let's see, I don't think there's too many hi-hats, but let's do 597. So 597 through 640. So not as many as the others, but still a lot. So now crashes. Let's see, crash is going to be starting at 641. Yeah, so 641 to 682 for crashes. Now we start getting into some splashes, 683 through 700. Okay, then we start getting into China cymbals, 701. Through 718. Now stacked, 719. Not too many of those clearly. 719 to 724, and then we start getting into rides at 725. $725 to $794. Now some percussion effects, and I'm not even going to count all of these because now I know that we start getting into some special effects. Let's see, we got some blocks, some cowbells, some vibes or vibra slaps, timbales. Let's see what else. Shakers, metal crasher, some cymbal type effects. Let's see. Kabasa. Some of these stuff, I don't even know what they are. Whistle, cajon. Timpanis, I've used those before. Bells, gong, snare rolls, I've used that before. Kalimba and marimba, like sisters.
Let's see if they go all the way up to 1,000. More than 1,000. Stick clacking, motor sounds, engine sounds, glass breaking. I thought it was going to stop at 1,000. A bomb? Voice stuff, clap sounds, cymbal effects, special effects, reverse cymbals. I've actually used some of the reverse cymbals. Certain songs have something like that. You need a swelling cymbal, works out well. Guitar. So 1,100 different sounds that are built into the TD30. It's really pretty remarkable.
So another thing I've noticed, I've had the TD30 here for 10 years, had this for like 2 days. So, but one of the things I've noticed is this, with these cymbals here, these are the original thickness cymbals, right? So, like, no problem. It's like no matter where you grab this thing, it stops. The choking, it's easy and it's reliable. In a second, we'll take a look at this on the 716. So we'll talk a little bit about the supernatural aspects to it and where it really all started. Like I said, I'm just very impressed with the responsiveness of the hi-hat. Talk about the hi-hat here too in a second on that one. But let's see what else I thought was pretty neat. Well, like for example, how in all of the pads, I think we start with the bass drum. I'm going to say instrument, edit, bass drum, right? So we could take a look at the shell. I could change the shell of it, the beater, whether it's wood, plastic, or felt. I could change the head, whether it's coated or pinstripe. I could change or clear. I could change the muffling, whether you're putting a blanket in there or tape on the, how many strips of tape you put in there. It's just totally cool. Where the mic is placed, how deep the mic is inside, whether the mic is way recessed in there, or it comes way back out here. So it's just all of this stuff is completely adjustable for every single drum. Like here, this drum here, the snare. Let's try the snare. So got the snare. This is the standard mic position. I can back that out. I can move it in some. So just all this stuff is what, to me, makes this thing supernatural. The muffling on the snare, do you want to put a piece of tape on it, a couple of pieces of tape, round things, do you just deaden it, that sort of thing. It's just so great. And obviously you can change the tuning here really easily. It's just, you're really working with virtual acoustic drums, which of course is what V drums must stand for. The depth of the shell, whether it's made of wood or stainless steel, all of this stuff. And do things that can't even exist in real life, a 1-inch snare or a 20-inch snare. So really cool stuff that you could do with this thing. Forget where we were. I'll have to watch the video to see where it was. But yeah, just totally cool. It's supernatural. And so the famous Belgian drummer Michael Schack did a whole series on TD30 when it first came out and the supernatural aspects of it. So yeah, it's just really great. And so in a second, we'll go over there to the TD716 and I'll tell you my impressions with that. Okay, so now we'll turn our attention to the TD716. As I said, I just purchased this as a replacement for the TD30, which is going to the church. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and grab that camera here and give you a view of it. One of the things I've tried to set up exactly like the TD30. And the reason why is because, again, it's a church thing. And so one of the things is the
716 comes in a 2-up, 2-down configuration. This is how they want you to do it, and you'll notice I haven't done it this way. And so one of the things I've done is it's more like almost like a 3-up, 1-down. And what I've done is I've made the 12-inch tom here on the right, because in the church, you know, these kind of go in descending order, and I really wanted to have a bigger tom here as a bigger target to hit. And so this is what it looks like. These toms are certainly larger. Everything about this kit is larger. Has the bass drum here. The cymbals are certainly larger. You see the bass drum looks real and kind of sounds real too. I'm gonna have to put a pillow in that sucker. You'll notice this Simmons pad here. So this is my original Simmons pad from 1986, and this is a snare pad. It's the only one I've kept. I sold my Simmons kit several years ago on Reverb, but I kept the snare pad just for nostalgia. And you might notice exactly how great a shape this is in, and I'll show you exactly how I've kept it in this great shape all these years. This thing is from 1986, and you can see what it looks like. And this thing has been played a lot. So, so one of the things what you see here, like I say, I just got this. You can see you can take a look at the cymbals. You can see where every single one of them drum hits the drumstick hits have happened on these things. And so once again, this just kind of shows the difference between the silver and the black rubber. With the black rubber, you could see every little hit that happened on this thing. And with the silver, you just can't. And another thing is that, especially on the ride, like I said, using these wood tip sticks, and it's almost like the wood is like disintegrating and getting buried in this ride here. I'll have to switch to nylon here, but and once again, I've got the cell phone holder there. It's exactly the same one I used on the other one. I like that a lot. So we'll take a look at this from this view here. And what I've been able to do here with this kit. So this here configuration is certainly going to be more usable for me. And so this might be a good alternative if you're looking to get one of these kits. Or so another possibility is just, you know, leave it in the 2-up, 2-down configuration, but put another 10-inch there, or even an 8-inch like I have on the TD30 set. So you can see that you've really got plenty of room to operate on this thing. All right, and in terms of packaging, this is how it comes. You see it's explained here what you're going to get for TD716. The box down there contains all of these things. Try to stay out of the shadow here. And then what we need is a bass drum and the stand. Now, this stuff is not light. You see here, all of this stuff here is 54 kilograms, well over 100 pounds. This thing here, the stage setup, the rack is well over 50 pounds. And then the bass drum here is, you know, quite a bit. Yeah, so that's kind of what you're going to look at. In addition to that, what I've done is I've added the snare stand and you know, a couple of other things. One of the things I wanted to talk about now that we've talked about the TD30 module is the TD716 module. And this does not have metallic black. It's made of this essentially matte black material. And maybe, you know, since we have it light overhead, it's not really drowning out the finish the way it was on the metallic black. I still think the metallic black is just beautiful. And plus you can see the fingerprints in here. Really couldn't see that on the metallic black. So now if we take a look from the side, you'll see that they've retained the kind of diagonal edges here. And on the side, we have the USB connector and a memory connector. But if we take a look at the top, I just think it's just not as beautiful. In fact, we've got this big empty space here where they could have put Roland V drums. And what happened to Supernatural? You know, I would think that they would come up with something that's either even better than Supernatural, like Super Duper Natural, or something else. And it just says nothing. So it's just not as beautiful. Taking another look here at the rear of the TD71 module, you might remember that on the TD30, the power connector was a standard Euro cord, like what's used on all computers. But on this one, it is this adapter. You see the type of connector that's on here. And here on the TD71, it doesn't tell you what the power supply is. You know, in other words, how many volts and amps, just in case you leave this thing at home. So let's say here is the power adapter here, and I will zoom in on it since the TD71 itself doesn't say how many volts and amps. And what you see here is it's 12 volts, 4 amps, and center positive. So another thing about it is that the power connector on it, you can see the type of power connector. And this is the kind of thing, I mean, to me, this is like an electric shaver cord. And what bothers me about this is that, you know, let's say you got your TD71 and you leave. This is just so easy to leave at home. You know, you leave it at home and you get to the thing, and now what you're going to do? It doesn't even tell you how many volts and amps. And so, and you might be able to find, now that you know it's 12 volts, 4 amps, you might be able to find something. But these connectors just kind of come in a variety of shapes and sizes. So you were kind of really taking a chance there. And then let's say you got this thing and you remembered this, but you forgot this thing, and then you got to find an electric shaver cord around. You know, so it's just a bit disappointing. With the TD30, if you forgot the cord, you just find a computer store, you know, or get it off a computer monitor or something like that. It's just so easy. But in this case, it's just like they take a step backwards. Now, maybe this thing is absolutely packed with components and they couldn't possibly fit the power supply in without making this bigger. Well, I'll tell you what, for me, I just said, okay, let's add a couple of inches to it and put a regular Euro cord and the power supply inside. But if you were going to use one of these power supplies here, at least put a Euro cord on it, you know, so that you can just use a regular old computer connector.
Okay, so we'll go through and hear some of the sounds just like we did on the TD30, and actually go ahead and start with the hi-hat. And I will show that to you in the same way. I'll go to trigger here and hi-hat and use the offset to control where that is so that I can control that. So let's see, this is the normal, this is the standard kit number 1, and we'll just go through the hi-hat and just fully open to fully close just to hear all the different sounds. And this is fully closed. And there's a little bit of a bug in here in the software. I think, to me, it's a little bit funny. No one would see it under ordinary circumstances, but if you watch this, it's here, negative 100. I'm going to work my way up, and it gets to negative, let's see, where is it? It gets to negative 77, and then all of a sudden, it pops back down. So here, I'm going to go from close again to fully open. Now this is what I call out of the box. These are the sounds that came with, you know, the Roland has this cloud and it has an app. It's got all the modern things that you would expect a modern product to have. So I have not loaded any cloud or anything onto it, have not played with the app at all. So everything you're gonna be seeing is just out of the box. It's what it sounds like out of the box. These are the kits out of the box. I've only implemented one of my own kits here. So these are the sounds. This is kit number 1, and this is the hi-hat. And when I was playing with this is kind of disappointing to me because you can really hear the differences. You can hear the different samples. You hear it's like a sudden transition, like you're on one set of samples, and then all of a sudden you're on a different sample. And then all of a sudden you're on a different sample, right? It's just like, especially out here, especially, you know, from way up there, it seems like that they did put more sample gradations in here, which makes sense. But it was still disappointing because as I'm playing it, it's like, gosh, this just doesn't sound as good as the TD30 did. It just sounds like all of a sudden I'm getting, it's like it opened it up just a little bit and all of a sudden there's a different sample. It's like, wait a second, what's going on there? I didn't notice that with the TD30. So that's really part of this documentation is for me to see, am I whacked out of my mind? Are the different samples here? And I really do think that there's just the sample gradation from fully open to fully closed on the TD30. It just seems like it's got more different sample gradations in there than the TD716 here. So let's see, I think I put it -9 now. Yeah. So and that's what I've done is before making this video, I found this to be true on all of the kits that are built into the thing, which aren't many, by the way. Which was another thing that kind of surprised me. So let me see if I get the exit button here. So this is kit number 1, Studio A. So we'll go through this just like we did on the other. We'll just kind of go through, see what the base kits had. And people are doing a lot better of a job than me. I'm just kind of rushing through this. It's just kind of a broad overview, my initial impressions of this kit. So this is Studio A. And this is an aux 1, and apparently they expect you to put another snare in aux 1. So one of the things I mentioned, it surprised me as well. It's like, here I am, I just got this kit, I'm gonna practice it, right? I'm gonna do like this, right? And all of a sudden, one of the things I'm noticing is sometimes I do this and it didn't work, right? So I'm gonna show you something, like here. I'm going to pinch it here. You're out of luck. And if you overshoot it, you're out of luck. Right? You got to be right in the middle. And sometimes, even being right in the middle, you got to squeeze pretty hard. And so what I found is, you know, I'm just doing some things and then have to all of a sudden go from move on the rims here to, it's like, hey, like, dude, I squeezed it. And it's just, so that was another disappointment. It's just, to me, it's not as reliable as the old thick ones, you know? And so, so what I've done is I've bought some replacements for this. I've bought 2 new metal gray, I know where to get them, metal gray ones just like those, but big. So I got 2 big metal gray ones that are thick, because I know the thick ones are reliable. I know that you do that, it's gonna stop. You don't have to worry about, you know, being so precise, and it's just like that. You know, I'm almost there. Had I been back another millimeter, I would have been at, you know. So it's just, you know, so some of the things actually are a little bit disappointing. So one of the things that Roland did was they made the rims more shallow, right? So with the idea being, I saw some people talking about this on the forums. It's like sometimes when they go to hit the tom, they accidentally hit the rim instead, right? So as a result, Roland has made the rims more shallow, closer to the head. The problem is, to me now it's too close. And I was at the church today looking at their acoustic drums, and it's higher on acoustic drums. It really is higher. It was probably bigger it's probably too big on the TD30. It's probably too thick there. But to me, it's almost like too thin here. So these are the kind of things that I'm noticing. Again, this is just my first impression after playing with this for about a day. So anyway, here's Studio A, here's Studio B. Here's another thing I'll show you real quick. Just keep an eye on this sucker here. As I'm moving this, it does take a little while to load. I'm used to the TD30 where you can go bzzz, and as fast as you can move that dial, it will go to the program. And here, it says it takes 1 second. 1 second's not too bad. And obviously, this is more sophisticated. It's got more samples and stuff like that. But it is just something you notice, going from something that happens immediately to taking a whole second, right? So that is just something I noticed. So here's Studio B. Rock energy. This is jazz solo. Let's see, mass. Vintage. Neo-funk. Let's see. This is how loud the bass drum is. It's not like, I'll turn the recording of the thing out so you hear this. It's like, it's not quite an acoustic bass drum, but you know, it's a lot louder than that one. So let's see, pure analog was just, let's see, deep rock. Let's see, they got something here called, I'm not sure about that one. Let's see, all ambience. Tell me, does these, like out of the box, do these sound as good as what the TD30 came with? I was really not impressed. Like out of the box, to me, these are not as good as what came with the TD30 out of the box. Let's see what we got here. Blast attack, track. So let's see, all big size. So you tell me, was this really as big as it was on the TD30? And again, I'll turn the ambiance up. Not so sure. Let's see, large room, okay. Yeah, so I have to say, I'm just not that impressed with what comes with the TD716 out of the box. Now, I'm sure once I get into the cloud, there's going to be much better stuff there, but, you know, kind of out of the box, just not that impressed. Let's see if I can find, I was playing around with something here a little earlier. One thing's cool is you can change the color of the wheels of the background here. So you could change it. You set these things up for, and that could be another visual cue for where you are in the set. Here we got these green ones coming up. So that is pretty neat to be able to do that, to demonstrate that. But let me see what I was looking at. So, but it only comes with 60. Let's see, 70 kits. So the TD30 out of the box had 80 of them. The 80 were pretty usable. And this comes with 70. right? So it's less. It's like we're regressing here. Let's see what else we got going on here. Some of the things that I was playing with and I wanted to point out. Yeah. Snare explosion, it says. You tell me. Not much of an explosion to me. And the tom sounds, it's like. So I showed you the kit I made up. It's based on their user kit. So this is user kit as it comes out of the box. So the tuning is actually similar to what we use at the church. And I kind of customized it a little bit for this, and number 100 once again, just like it was over there. But I didn't see much of it. I think I changed the snare. But the toms, they just, listen. Don't know, man. Yep. Hope to find stuff I like more on the cloud. So,
All right, we'll see how many instruments there are in the TD71 module. I'm going to use it on this layered thing so I don't have to mess up anything else. So, and similar to the TD30, we have a 3-digit number next to the instrument. So here we go. First ones are kicks, starting with 001. Now these ones that say slot 1 and slot 2 and slot 3, these go in this expansion kit. So I'm not sure that this really comes with it per se. By the time you're watching this video, I have added a few expansion kits on here, so we'll just keep that in mind. Kick others. Slot 2. Well, I have to say, I'm surprised exactly how many kicks there are. There's a lot of them here. Electric. Slot 2 though. Okay, so we finally get it to snares. 035 DW at concrete snare. This is a kind of a popular one. And once again, we're in the slots. So we start getting into the cross stick here. Snare others. Snare electric. Okay, starting to get into the toms here at 90. Yeah, this Woodroom Studio UK is one of the things that gets loaded onto here. these slots. Tom Others. Electric. Okay, and then we get in the hi-hat, 143. This includes the hi-hat and the hi-hat edge. Hi-hat others. Electric. Fixed electric. Okay, and then we start to get into the ride at 155. Let's see, crashes at 176. Okay, China at 206. How many? Okay, Splash at 212. Stack Cymbal at 220. Cymbal Others at, just into the slots. Let's see. Okay. Bell, chime, gong is the section we're in right now, and 226 traditional gong. Then we get into some slots. Block and cowbell, let's see. 227. Some slots here. Percussion, 232, tambourine. Okay, percussion, electric, but we're into the slots, not any built-in codes. Okay, clap, 235, and then we're once again into the slots. Sound effects, just into the slots. And elements at 236. Synth, one thing called synthwave. User sample, a couple of user samples. And let's see what happens if we keep on going. Looks like users can load quite a bit of samples in here. But okay, so that's it. That's all that's loaded in here. Let me show you what I mean by this expansion. You press this expansion button here, and this will tell you they've got these things that they call slots, which is sort of like a directory or a folder in a computer. And so what came loaded on it was these three: Wood Studio UK, and electric and percussion. These came loaded in it, right? And let's see, it includes 5 kits and 30 instruments, 1 slot required. Includes 25 kits and, not sure if that says 712 or what that is, instruments, 1 slot required. And the brush includes 2 kits and 22 instruments, 1 slot required. So what I did was I loaded this on it to check out how good it sounded, this TD30 Legacy. And it's 8 kits. And then I left slot 5 alone, and I've got this here, the 50th anniversary producer, because I wanted to hear things from the producer side. It's one of the things that they said, you can hear things from the producer side and the drummer side, and I just wanted to see what that was like. And here's the thing, you know, I just got a sneaking suspicion that these things are going to quote unquote expire in 6 months. You know, you get, hey, we'll give you this 6-month ultimate subscription. Okay, well, you know, I didn't really look into how much it is per month or per year after that, but you know, could this be Roland's way of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy? You know, and I just get concerned with that. what we saw was that the TD30 had 1,100 instruments built in that you could have forever, and you never have to pay again. And so what becomes clear as we go through this is that you can, there's a lot here. You can load up them slots quite a bit. You can load quite a bit in there in the slots. But what actually comes with the unit and what's never going to expire doesn't look all that much to me. So that is a concern right now.
So I showed you a couple more things that I found was very interesting. When I first got the hi-hat and I was playing with it, I noticed it didn't really open right. I'm like, what's happening with this thing? It's like it's getting stuck shut. And so I did put a little lithium grease on the, on the controller on the bottom. But I'll show you what I think is the real key. And I'll take the camera from here. Take a look at the VH-13, right? So here we go. Here's the VH-13. Right in there, that is an air vent, so that when this is coming down, the air can escape through there, right? And on hi-hats, sometimes they'll drill holes in the bottom of it, or sometimes they'll have a rippled cymbal or something like that for the air to escape, because when it closes, the air's got to get somewhere, and when it opens back up, the air's got to come back in there somehow, or else you're creating a suction cup. That was not true of these. This is completely sealed. And so what I did was I drilled 3 holes right in the bottom. And if you open up the TD716 hi-hat, you'll see where I put them. There was a label there. It was a space for a label. So it was free from, I'm not going to take this apart, but it's free from any electronics or anything. This is just basically plastic down here. So I drilled these 3 holes in it to act as vent holes in roughly the same place. And as I'm doing this, you could feel a lot of air pumping out of that sucker. So I think that was a real improvement, and you can try that on yours and see if you agree with me. And if you don't, you can just put a piece of tape over it on the inside. No one will ever know that you did that. So this is my initial impression of the TD716. Like I say, I've had the TD30 for more than 10 years. And I've had this for about 2 days, was able to get it set up, stuff like that. The toms are a real improvement. The module does a lot more. I've got the cell phone holder there. I don't have to have a cable. It connects through Bluetooth, so it's got all the modern stuff. It's got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, app, that sort of thing. Many things are a real improvement, but I have to say there are some disappointments that I've had out of the box. Now, I hope that we get some different samples, different kits on here, and I'm going to be a lot happier with it. And I'm not so sure I'm going to be disciplined enough to grab this exactly in the place it needs to be grabbed and squeezed exactly as hard as it needs to be squeezed. I'm not sure I'm that disciplined. And plus, it's just getting marked up like crazy. So I'm going to be a lot happier replacing these with the metallic gray. The ride is just amazing what it does, because it's got the digital thing. You just lay your hand on it, and it's a lot bigger, a lot more like a real ride cymbal. I like the hi-hats, but I don't like how they get marked up, and how gosh, I sure hope they got more samples in there somewhere, because I have to say I think the TD30 did that better. So. Yeah, so anyway, that's my initial impression. Question and comments, leave them below.